Hi students, let's attack this review. Our first one, we've got x wants to be greater than 5, so what I'm going to do is start off here at -5, get some numbers so I know where the bigger numbers are and the smaller numbers are, and I want x to be bigger than -5. So I've got my open circle because there's no equivalency bar. X has to be bigger, cannot be equal to, it has to be bigger, and we want to be greater than -5, so I'm going to head towards the bigger numbers. Our next one, I've got h wants to be less than 7, so here's 7. I'm going to get one number higher. I'm going to get one number lower. 7 is my boundary, and I want to be less than 7. Equal to 7 is not enough. Have to be less, and that's why it's not filled in. This one, coldest temperature ever recorded in Dallas was 1 degree Fahrenheit, 1989. Write and graph an inequality that describes temperatures of Dallas. Well, 1 was the lowest. So all of my temperatures need to be greater than or equal to 1 because it was 1 degree the time in 1989. So the way I set this up, I've got 1 degree. It's my boundary. It was equal to 1 degree in 1989, so it's filled in because you can be equal to 1. And then we head towards the larger numbers. Sliding it up. Write the inequality represented by the graph. Well, 3 is my boundary. I know my numbers are going to be greater than 3, and because the circle is open, no bar under here because we're not equal. So all of my numbers are greater than 3. The second one, it is filled in. We're starting here at -1. I want to be greater than or equal to, because it's filled in, -1. And I'm going to slap my variable right next to it. Solve and graph the inequalities. Got my single steps here. Want to get this 6 away from my x, so I'm going to subtract it from both sides. I'm going to get x is less than +8. Make sure everything's all gone. It's all gone, so we want x to be less than 8. 8's my number. I'm going to go one number bigger and one number smaller. Open circle, because we cannot be equal to 8, have to be less than. Now I'm going to head towards the smaller numbers. My next one, b minus 8 is greater than 15, so I'm going to add 8 to both sides. I want to get my b by itself. I will have b is greater than 28, or 23 rather. 23. 23 is my operative number right here. One number bigger, one number smaller, just to make sure we know where everything's at. And I want b to be larger than this number. It's going to be open because we cannot be equal to 23. We have to be greater than. So we'll slide it out that away. All right. Our next page, pulling it on down. Single steps. R over 4 rather, is less than 3. I want to get rid of that 4, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. And I'm going to get R is less than 12. All done there. R needs to be less than 12. 12 is going to be my number in the middle. One number bigger, one number smaller, so we know where everything's at. I want to be smaller than 12. Cannot be equal to, must be smaller than. So I leave that circle open. This one, dangerous. We're going to divide by -7. Now, whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, your inequality in the middle is going to flip. So I'm going to get g is less than, instead of greater than, -4. So be very careful around those negative numbers. G is less than -4. -4 is my number in the middle. Get one number bigger, one number smaller. Open circle, because g is not equal to -4. We want to be less than. And head towards these smaller numbers over there on that side. We have Connor. He saved $96 for his driver's ed class. He's required 32 hours of classwork, not including the drive time. Write and solve an inequality that can be used to find the hourly rate that he can afford to pay for the classwork portion. So we have $96. That's how much money we have. Let's do it over here. $96. We have 32 hours. And that's going to be, this is how much money he's got. So he can spend no more than this much. Alright? So we will have $3 an hour. Oh my. He has to spend less than $3 an hour. There's another way to set this up. I will show you here right now. So here's 3, here's 4, here's 2. A better way to show you, this is just the way I think about it because I like to get that answer out. Better way to say is I've got $96 and that's as much as I can spend, and I have 32 times our hourly rate, 32 hours times how much we're going to charge per hour, and then you divide that 32 off. And it kind of shows you that previous step, whereas I just went straight for that answer. Alright, multi-step inequalities. All we're going to do is solve it down on this first one. Want to get rid of the 7, it's the easiest thing to move, so I subtract it from both sides. I'm going to get 3e is less than 15. I'm going to take the 3 off of both sides. I'm going to get e is less than 5. Not so bad. This one, multiply in this -5. I want to get rid of this -5. It's on the outside. Best way to do that is to distribute. You can also divide it off here at the beginning. That's fair enough. But I think most of you would end up distributing it instead of dividing it to the other side. So -5 times x, -5 times -5, and we keep that, looks like an equal then sign right here. Going to subtract that 25 from both sides, and I'll get -5x is greater than or equal to 25. And then I'm going to divide by -5. This again, we're dividing by a negative number. Divide or multiply by a negative number on an inequality, and your inequality symbol in the middle is going to flip. So I'll get x is less than or equal to -5. And that's going to be all for that problem. Let's go on to that next page. I think we'll be able to get a few more in before we cut the video. This one, variables on both sides, I want them on one side. So when I move them, I want to move it in such a way that I don't get any negative variables. So I'm going to subtract the 2y from both sides. Cancels on this right side, and on the left side, very important, my y's stay positive. So critical. We don't need that plus 19. It's just a 19 at this point. A couple more steps. Subtract the 17 from both sides. I'm going to get 4y is greater than 12. My last step, divide by 4. I'm going to get y is greater than 3. There we go. And we'll do one more problem. We'll cut the video. This one is a special one. Be careful. You're going to want your x's on one side. So I'm going to move my x's so they can be on one side. You'll notice they cancel. Alright? Both cancels. What this means is a variable is not important. You're adding 8 of the same thing to each side. So really all that's important is this 9 and this -10. And it's going to say that 9 is less than -10. So then we're going to stop and we're going to think about this. Alright? Is 9 less than -10? Absolutely not. It's not less than -10. You would rather have that positive 9. Positive 9 is bigger. So since this is not true, we're going to say no solution. Because there's no value for x that will make 9 less than -10. Therefore, no solution. We're going to cut the video here.